are now listening to the NFT Quarterback Podcast with your host, Riki Van Winkle.
I think that's what everyone's kind of fighting for. What's his name? Dan Campbell, right?
Yeah,
Or Mike Campbell, or something like that.
I think it's Dan Campbell.
But Dan Campbell, yeah, because remember, even you said it too. Like, you watched Hard Knocks, you're like, oh yeah, I like these guys. I like the coach, and like you could tell he's a coach that like the players like, and like even people that like aren't fans of the team, they're just like, okay, yeah, like he seems like a player's coach, and like we want him to have his job, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we want that to do good. So it's like that's good. At least he got enough wins for him to keep his job. 4 wins, 4-7. It's nothing to be happy of, nothing to glorify, but it's at least enough for him to keep his job, build up a better team next year, and hopefully get around 500 next year, like 8 and 9, 7 and 10, something like that. So that's like, okay, so you see some sort of progression each year, and it's like,
Yeah, I feel you on that. Like, a couple things about the Lions. Anytime the Lions win 4 games, it's an improvement over the previous year. So that's good for him. And then the hard part though is that division, because they in that with the Vikings. Packers are pretty much done for. And who else is there? There's another team in there, right?
The Bears.
Oh, yeah, the Bears.
The Bears doing very good either, but at least they got one thing right. At least they got their franchise quarterback. At least they know who their franchise quarterback is going to be for the next, 5 to 10 years. And now all they need to do is just build around him. Get him a good line, get him some good receivers, build a defense. Like, at least they got something down, right? They got the foundation down of the house. Now they got to build the rest of the house.
Right, yeah. I liked what they did this week. They kept him out of the game because you don't want to mess around with, what do you have, like a separated shoulder and like partial ligament tears in the shoulder? You don't want to mess around with that kind of stuff. That's not cool, man.
So, I think that was the report on him. And it was actually a much-needed victory for the Jets. Because, they're 7-4 now. So the Jets are, like, clearly in the playoff picture. Like, it's good to see that. That's what you kind of want to see the Detroit Lions do next year. Kind of take this sort of jump. But, the Jets just drafted really good on the defensive side of the ball. It looks like they just missed with that quarterback.
Yeah. So we didn't get to talk about it last week, but I could see Zach Wilson on the sidelines. And one thing I like to look for is just kind of the competitiveness in somebody's eyes. That's like one thing I usually look for when I watch football. And the guy was just defeated. Like, he was so overwhelmed over there on the sideline. Like, it looked like he wanted to go lay down in his bed. Like, he was that done,
Remember, I had told you about that. Belichick is good against these young quarterbacks, and he had pretty much done the exact same thing 2 weeks ago. And I was just like, it's up to the Jets and Zach Wilson to make adjustments. And it looks like they just hadn't made adjustments. And it's like, hey, man, you guys are playing against one of the best football minds ever.
Yeah.
And this guy for just putting young quarterbacks through nightmares. And it's just like, I don't know, that's what I expected to happen, and it happened, and then he got benched, and a lot of people in the media were just like, don't overreact to this Zach White thing, because they played against a Chicago defense that hasn't been good all year, and on top of that, 3 of their best defensive players weren't there on Sunday. So, like, they kind of said, like, this might have been a good game for Zach Wilson to get back on the horse, but instead you guys went the exact opposite. You benched him. You gave an easy game to his backup, and now his confidence is just in the dirt.
No, his confidence was shattered last week, man. I'm telling you, I seen it in his eyes. Like, for real. I'm serious, man. Like, and it's not something that you can easily fix, because either you have like a strong mindset or not, man. Like, either you can take a L, or you could take a benching, or you can just take somebody telling you suck, or you can't. Like, I think that's much deeper than, I had a bad game. It's like, this dude, he needs to get his mind right first. He's not Tom Brady out there, of course not, but I feel like he's the opposite of Tom Brady. Like, he gets his toe stepped on and he starts, I don't know. It's just like little things bother him that shouldn't, or that can't, as an NFL quarterback. You can't have that kind of mentality.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I agree. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know. The guy's he's only in his second year. But I guess the Jets, I mean, with this win, they're 7-4, so I think they're just kind of like, well, we're in a win now mode.
Yeah.
Like, to see, like, this is their opportunity to get back in the playoffs. I don't remember the last time I saw Jets in the playoffs.
I don't know. Chad Pennington? Way back when?
I have no fucking idea. I'm pretty sure Mark Sanchez didn't take them there.
It was Rex Ryan was the coach, because they keep bringing it up. And you know what? Real quick on your last point, because I was listening to Keyshawn today at 6 a.m. Eastern time, and he was saying, sure, they could have put Zach Wilson in. Like you said, he could have played the game. They probably would have won the game anyways, but it wouldn't have been as effective as this other guy who was playing. Like, it's hard to see a difference because, you can't play two games simultaneously, but this guy, White, I think is his last name, he's the only Jets quarterback in the last 30 years with 2 games of 300-plus passing yards and 3 touchdowns. That's...
His name is Mike White. Yeah, Mike White.
Okay, Mike White, yeah.
And then, you know what? I heard they said he's like a 27-year-old, 6'5" guy. I'm like, it's a good age for, you know what I'm saying? That's a good age, good height for what you want your quarterback to be, And maybe he is the best guy that gives him. Maybe he is the guy that gives him the best chance to win right now.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's got the job. Looks like he's gonna be moving forward with it. Another guy that looks like they've got the job and has been getting some wins is your boy. You know who your boy is?
You mean Jimmy Garoppolo?
Nah, Heineke.
Heineke, of course. Of course he's...
Boy, Heineke, man, another W this week. What's really good with that, man?
Yeah, Heineke's a boss, man. Everybody loves Heineke. He's just a leader of that team.
I think they said he's like 5-2 as a starter for the Washington Redskins, bro.
Yeah. No, it's what they did earlier. They had a 6-game sample size on what's his face, Mr. Wentz and Heineke. And Wentz was 2-4, and Heineke is 5-1. Oh man.
I mean, Wentz was, I don't know, I feel bad for the guy. But at least, whatever, at least the Commanders somehow found themselves. Because they started off the season pretty bad. They're now 7-5. And I think every single team, I can look at this playoff picture again, but I think every single team in the NFC East is in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how it's going. Like, it's crazy to think the NFC least turned into the NFC beast in 1 year, bro.
It's insane. Because they had, the last time the Commanders, I think they were the Redskins way back when, they made the playoffs like under 500, and they won their division with that record. That was way back when everybody in that division just sucked.
Yeah, man. Every single team in the NFC least is in the... They hold all 3 fucking wild card positions. It'll start Dallas, the number 1 wild card. The Giants as the number 2 wild card. And Washington as the number 3 wild card. And the division winners right now are the Eagles, the Vikings, your San Francisco Giants...
The baseball team?
The Bay Buccaneers. And out. They've fallen out of the playoff picture. Well, I know exactly how. Heineke. That's how they fell out.
Yeah, that, and they lost to the Raiders, which you just can't do that as an NFL franchise.
What? is I think Seattle thought because it was in overtime and it was like a minute to go, and I think Seattle was like, oh, I think they're just gonna play for the tie.
What?
You know, I think that's what happened, and then out of nowhere, what's his name?
Josh Jacobs.
Runs for like a 86-yard touchdown, bro.
Yeah.
When?
No, dude. First of all, no way the Raiders gonna go for a tie. You know how big of a backlash they get from their fans? Even me, I'm not even a big Raiders fan. I would be like, that would piss me off so bad to think that you're just going to take a knee for a tie?
Yeah, because the Raiders went down. They attempted like a 54, 56-yard field goal. They missed that. The Seahawks went 3-and-out. They punted it. And then there was like a minute to go. And they just had a mental freeze or something, and they're like, "Oh, this game's over." And boom, Josh Jacobs was like, "No, it's not over. Now, I ain't heard no fat lady sing yet. I'm
Hell
still
no.
playing.
Hell no. No way.
I'm taking this shit to the house." I was like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah, apparently he got injured like beginning second half, something like that. And, you know, he blamed it, or they're blaming it on the turf, which is like a big old thing these days. Everyone's mad about the turf. But anyways, he comes out there and just, I feel like they loaded up the box and only had one safety, because once he got through that line, he only had to beat one dude. And you know a running back is just going to take it to the house if all he has to do is beat the safety.
Yeah. And yeah, man, I'm looking at it in the playoff picture right now. It looks like the Jets are in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Division winners are KC, Miami, Tennessee, and Baltimore, and then Buffalo, Baltimore, and the Jets are in the AFC right now. So, yeah, man, this playoff picture is crazy right now.
Yeah, but here's the problem with those. I think a little problem right there is the Tennessee Titans. I'm not big on them. And the Ravens also, I'm not, especially after last week. And then seeing how the Bengals played, it's going to be tough for the Ravens to, either to make it or to make a push once they get there.
The Ravens are the top of their division right now. So they're kind of fluky, man, where I think they lost another big lead this week.
A 9-point lead to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had a 9-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. They're kind of fluky, and they just keep on giving up these second half, fourth quarter leads, and it's out of the ordinary for them, because they're known to be like a very good defensive team and to hold on to leads late, and this year has just been kind of just out of ordinary for them,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. They're a team that people are saying it's hard to trust them to make a late run. One team that has definitely stepped it up, also in their division, is the Cincinnati Bengals, bro.
Yeah, they looked good. They looked really good, man. And that's the last couple of weeks too that they've been looking good.
Yeah, they had a really good victory this week. Who against?
Tennessee Titans.
Oh, Tennessee, yeah. So that's good for them. And then the week before they beat the Steelers. And the week before that they beat the Panthers. So they're on a 3-game winning streak. And then Lamar Chase, they don't know exactly when he's going to come back, but he should be back by the playoffs. Actually, no. Looking at it right now, they're not in the playoff picture though. They're 7-4.
Yeah, but they're hot. They're hot. And another thing too is they showed you
their division. The Jets are 3-3, so they should be in actually.
Wait,
over the Jets.
What's their divisional record?
their divisional record. Oh no, that's their home record. No, they're 1-3. That's why. Okay, their divisional record is 3. And the Jets are 2-2. So that's why the Jets are in over them right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just.
While you're doing that, I think what they did this week, they showed you the blueprint for how to stop the Titans. Because Henry had 17 rushes for 38 yards. And what they were doing is they were just tackling him at the line of scrimmage. They would send up a cornerback or a safety or just, maybe like an extra linebacker or whatever, and they would just tackle him. And then once you bring Henry out, the game is over,
He did have a really big run for like 60, 70 yards, but then he fumbled it right at the end.
Oh, God.
But then else on his team had picked it up. So for the most part, they did kind of stop Henry. But, yeah, the stats are a little bit off on that because of that big bump that he had lost at the end.
Okay.
Luckily, May had recovered it in the end zone. But, yeah, like, the Titans are going to go as far as Derrick Henry carries them. And even though, what's her name? What's their quarterback name?
Tannehill?
Tannehill. Even though Tannehill has been playing a little bit better, I still don't think he's that guy.
No.
Go up against KC, Buffalo, or even like Miami, man. If they need a drive at the end, if they need to score a touchdown with a minute 20 to go, I don't think Derrick Henry's going to be like, yeah, give me the ball. Let me run this.
Yeah, right.
Let me run it 4 times. Like, relax, buddy.
Yeah, they need those bunch passes where they throw a 17-yard pass at the sidelines, run right out of bounds. You're just not going to get that kind of production from Tannehill.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're a good team though. They've got a good defense and they're in every game. So, actually, you know what? Cincinnati is actually in the playoff picture still. Okay. I don't know how of the Jets though. That doesn't make sense. Because they're 1-3 in their division. How is 1-3 in your division better than 2-2?
Oh.
That's 500, and that's below 500. That doesn't make sense. They're both 7-4.
But the Jets are in, and Cincinnati's still looking out from the outside.
No, Cincinnati's in as well. Cincinnati's in at 6, and the Jets are in at 7.
Huh. That's weird. I wonder how they do that. There must be another tiebreaker before it.
Maybe it's a head-to-head. I don't know. They're both 7-4. Whatever. This has got to be off. This doesn't.
Yeah, just blame ESPN. Blame the standings. Did they play this year? I don't think they did.
If they did, I don't remember. But they do have the Bills in the 5th spot. So right now, if the playoffs were to happen next week, they would have Miami hosting the Jets. They would have Tennessee hosting.
Check this out,
Bengals.
Danny. On the 25th of September, the Bengals beat the Jets, 27-12.
Oh, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe their first tiebreaker is head-to-head.
Yeah, I'd say it is.
Because within their division, their divisional records are 1-3, the Bengals, and the Jets are 2-2. And I'm no mathematician, but I'm sure that 2-2 is a better statistical average than 1-3.
Yeah. Ain't much math there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man.
So the Bills won on Thursday, and they barely beat the Lions, and then the Giants and the Cowboys faced off on Thursday also. And I feel like the Giants, they should have won that game only because I feel like they need to win their divisional games because they're a little bit of a weaker team, and divisional games are so big, but they let that one slide, man. So it's good for the Cowboys, but it's bad for the Giants, I think.
You know what? The Cowboys have been playing some good football lately. You got to take your hats off to them. And they might be having OBJ coming to town. So
Well, he's got to
that.
get on the plane first. You heard he got kicked off the plane?
I heard something about that. I don't know exactly. I heard something about that.
Yo, man, his price just went down. He got a bad attitude.
Oh, I mean, that's not the news. You like that? You act like people that don't know that already.
Oh.
They're like, on a 4.3, 4.240? Okay, you're good to go.
Unless your name's Antonio Brown. That dude is gone now.
Man, that guy is something else. Just let him go.
Yeah.
I mean, right, sexual assault, throwing his pads into the stands, just making memes about him and Tom Brady's wife.
Ooh, that's bad.
Just let that man go. Let him go live in whatever fantasy world he wants to live in.
Yeah. And then your Vikings came through on the Patriots. Can you expand a little on that game? What happened over there?
Just like every week, except for the Cowboys week, the Vikings seem to just do just enough.
Okay.
They seem to do just enough. Kirk, I think, threw one pick early on, and then Jefferson had a big game. I think over 100 yards. Thielen came up big, some big catches. Dalvin Cook played well. Yeah, I think they were saying it was like the first time Belichick had given up over 350 yards on like a primetime game in like I don't know how many years, but yeah, man. I mean, the Vikings they're just getting by. I mean, I don't know what happened the Cowboys game. I'm guessing they were still hungover from
the Bills game.
Yeah, I think they were still hungover from the Bills game. Yeah, Alvin and Jefferson had 9 catches for 139 yards. Thielen caught a touchdown pass. Jefferson touchdown pass. Hawkinson touchdown pass. So it was a good performance, you know.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, they had a kickoff return for a touchdown, 97 yards.
That's
so
right.
That was pretty.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, the Patriots, they're gonna be clawing to the very end. I think. You know, they're not just gonna roll over and die. They're only one game out from the playoffs right now. They're 6-5. The Jets are 7-4. So I'm guessing they must play the Jets again before the end of the year.
No, they already played them twice and beat them twice.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, 10-3 and 22-17. So they've actually got the Bills coming up this week, then the Cardinals and the Raiders and the Bengals, and then Miami, and then the Bills again. So they've got to play the Bills twice before the end of the year. And Miami, they've got a really difficult schedule coming up.
Well, it's just that division. It's kind of like,
yeah,
it's tough right there. But you know, they're still in control of their own destiny, though. If they can win those games against the Bills and Miami, that's really the only wins they need right there.
Yeah, because then that'll give them some L's, and those guys are both sitting in the playoffs right now too. It's crazy to think. I mean, I think everyone expected this out of the AFC East, but the AFC East and the NFC East are both just killing it right now. Both the two best divisions in football, in my opinion, and they're trying to get as many teams into that playoff picture as they possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see with the Patriots. And then also, I feel like the Bills, I mean, they won last week, but I still kind of just feel like they're reeling. Like they don't have a lot of momentum right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that elbow injury to Josh Allen is a bit more serious, and not really serious, but I think it's lingering on him a bit more than people are aware of, you know? And I think it's kind of got a little to do with it. But, and then I think Von Miller is hurt at the moment. I don't know how severe his injury is, but.
They said it wasn't a tear. That's what they said. But I'm not like, saying he's going to come back and start tearing it up next week. But he's not seriously injured like he's done for the season.
Maybe. Okay. And that's kind of like the veteran leader on the defensive side of the ball. So.
Yeah, and he can still get to the quarterback too. So if you need him in the fourth quarter to kind of pull an Aaron Donald and just rough up the quarterback or just make it difficult for the quarterback to get off a pass, then that's really something valuable to have, especially if you're trying to win a championship.
Yeah, because I think he only comes in like once every other play or once every third play just to get some energy boost, you know?
That's how you know you're good right there, when you don't even have to play every play.
Yeah, I mean, with his age and stuff and his experience, I think the limited amount of plays that he gets, I think that's what's best for him in the cards right now, you know?
Yeah, so we'll see there. And then Miami, they're looking good. I feel like they're a little offensive heavy, but if Tua can act anything like Patrick Mahomes, then that's a team. That's the biggest comparison I draw with the Dolphins. Is kind of with the Chiefs. And if Tua can do what Mahomes, or even a little bit act like Mahomes, then they have a shot to go somewhere in the playoffs.
Tua, I've liked Tua for a while, and I didn't like that he was getting a bad rap, and he's definitely been proving the critics wrong this year, I mean, at the same time, he's got two of the best wide receivers in football, right?
Yeah.
And last week against the Texans, he had 299 yards, 1 TD, 0 picks. On the year, he's got 2,500 yards, and he's only got 3 interceptions.
Nice.
Really good. 19 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And that's with him sitting out like 2 or 3 games, or I think 2.5 games, I believe.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, man, he's killing it, man. I mean, this week is going to be a really tough test for him, though. Looks like he's going to be playing your Niners.
Man, that defense, man.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a game to watch for sure. Like, just get a good estimate upon both of those teams, offensively and defensively.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best defenses against one of the best offenses, right there. So, yeah, I think that's gonna be a good game to watch.
What are your thoughts on Jimmy Garoppolo? Because it's like people, they counted him out a long time ago, and they said he was horrible a long time ago, and now nobody wants to back off that take. But, I mean, I always liked Jimmy G. I told you that at the beginning of the year. And
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious now that you see that he's coming through here and really just being an awesome point guard for this offense. What do you think about him? I mean, do you think he has, or just kind of what's your opinion on that?
You know what? My opinion about Jimmy is the same as it was at the beginning of the year. Is just win, Jimmy. That's all it. That's all it is. It's like, it's not that he does bad. He doesn't necessarily do great. He's right there in the middle. But like, he's good enough. He had what? 222 yards, 1 TD, 0 picks. Just, it's good enough, man. Like, with all the weapons around him, they're like, hey, man, we're not asking you to go out there and beat Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. You got a good running back behind you. You've got 2 good wide receivers, 1 on each side, and you got one of the best tight ends right there too.
Yeah, true.
Just concentrate, and just make the easy play.
Yeah, exactly.
Week they won 13-0 because they have arguably the best defense in the league, right? 13-0 this week. Last week they smoked the Cardinals with that 38-10.
Oh yeah, that was ugly for the Cardinals.
I think that's another thing. Like, because he's played in this division for what, 4 or 5 years now, right? I think this is his 5th year, right?
Yeah.
That he knows the other teams in the division so well. Like, they smoked Seattle. Unfortunately, it was the Trey Lance game, right, that he had gotten injured.
Yeah.
Jimmy had come in, and they just smoked Seattle. I forgot. That was like 30-7 or something. They just smoked them. And they beat L.A. twice, right? It's like big brother always beating up on little brother. That's just a given, you know? Then this week or 2 weeks ago, they beat the Cardinals 38-10. So they've got to be at least, so that's like what, 4 victories within the division right there. So let's see, what are they? Their divisional.
They're 4-0 in the division. They won all their divisional games so far.
Yeah. So I just listed off all their divisional wins. So that's another thing about him, because he's played in this division for so long. He knows the other teams in the division, and that's your, like, what do they call it? Bread and butter right there, right?
Yeah.
If you can get divisional wins, then that sets you up for a good good run for divisional title. And that's what he does, man. He just went. Like, I'm not saying he's a great quarterback. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. He's good enough.
It's like he has just those intangibles that you need that, you know, of course it helps when you got George Kittle to bail you out as your last guy, you know, that you look to throw. But
yeah,
it's incredible. And it's been since the day he arrived. He just wins football games, except for the freaking Super Bowl, which still pisses me off. But
that's got a lot to do
with the defense right there, and Patrick Mahomes
and Tyreek Hill. Like, I don't know, they were just electric. Like, I think you guys are up by like what, 10 points, right? With like 5 minutes to go.
And they still lost by like 14 or something stupid.
Yeah. And another thing is, like, I remember at one point you guys had the ball, and I was like, okay, just run. And you guys were throwing the football. I was like, what the hell are y'all doing? You guys are up by 10 points with 5 minutes to go. Just run the ball. Who cares if it goes 3 and out? At least it will go 3 and out, wasting 2 minutes. If you go 3 throwing the ball, then that's like maybe a minute off the clock. Not even. You know, like, you guys have been running the ball the whole game. Why are you just now like, oh, you know what they'll never expect?
For me to throw an incompletion.
Like, yes, you're right. No one would expect you to throw it because no one is this stupid. It's like you're trying to outsmart yourself.
Kyle Shanahan has to win a Super Bowl this year. He has to.
He's got to win a Super Bowl at some point in his career.
I mean, he's choked both his chances away.
Biggest chokes in Super Bowl history, man. Two of the biggest chokes in all of NFL history, and it's just like, come on, man. You were so close.
Well, that first one was the biggest choke in NFL history.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it was like 28-3 at halftime or something, bro.
Not in the third quarter.
I was like, come on.
Come on, Kyle. This is your year, man. Yeah, so that's why I'm interested to see how they play against the AFC, one of the top teams in the AFC this year. Because that's kind of a good test. I mean, I'm not saying they have to win the game. I'm just want to see how they play against them.
I think the game is in San Francisco.
Oh, that's good.
Let's see. Yeah, versus Miami. So this is going to be in San Francisco. And then you guys got another game at home the following week against the Buccaneers, who are just kind of on and off.
More off than on.
Yeah, people before this week. Well, I guess they're still at the top of their division, eh? The Buccaneers?
Yeah, because look at Atlanta's record.
That weak-ass record. Yeah, they're 5-6.
Ugh.
And 5-7. So.
Oh, God.
So I guess at this point they would host a playoff game against the Cowgirls. So it could be Minnesota hosting Washington, San Francisco hosting the Giants, and then Tampa Bay hosting Dallas. So that's a nail biter. I mean, I think that's the game that Dallas is gonna win because Michael Parsons is just too good right now, just getting pressure on the quarterback. Minnesota had beaten Washington 3 weeks ago in Washington, so that's a game that we expect to win there. You guys are gonna play the Giants. You guys are gonna host the Giants, which I believe will be a winnable game. Your guys' defense is really good. Saquon might give you guys a little bit of a problem, but it's gonna. Yeah, man. I mean, this divisional picture is starting to play out, and it's looking like we got some good games on our hand.
Yeah, but there's still a couple weeks to go because I could still see Seattle somehow sneaking in there, getting a playoff spot. I kind of see the Giants maybe teetering off because I'm just not that confident in your boy Danny Dimes. But
I mean, he's good, but he's not great. I would say he's a little bit better than Jimmy. He's still young, right? He's only in his 4th year, so he's still got some progress to make. He's got better scrambling and running ability than people give him credit for.
Mhm.
So I don't know, man. If I were the Giants, I would re-sign him because it's just like you could try to go to the draft, but I mean, you could end up with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's just like, well, we really fucked that one up.
Yeah.
Or you could try to bring in a veteran quarterback, and it could be Russell Wilson. And be like, well, we fucked that one up too.
Well, a good choice. They're saying right now for the Jets and the Giants that it's the Jimmy Garoppolo sweepstakes. So Jimmy G could go to either one of those teams next year.
The Jets or the Giants? I would say those would be both good landing spots for Jimmy. I mean, like I said earlier, right? Jimmy's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
He'll get you those wins. And for him, I would, you know what? Both those businesses are fucking shit. So, fucking hard as shit. So it's like, well, but at least the Jets, we know, have good young defensive players. I'm not really too sure what the wide receiver situation is over there, but
no, Wilson's good for the Jets. I like his attitude. I think he's gonna turn into something. For the Giants, I don't think they have anybody noteworthy. I only know that guy from the Jets because he was like, "Yo, we suck." That's what he said after they had like 77 yards of offense. He said that, man. You didn't hear him? He's like, "Yo, that's unacceptable."
Are you talking about on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side?
On the offensive side of the ball. Last week, before they benched Wilson, the Wilson wide receiver, he asked the reporter, he's like, "How many yards we have? 77?" Yeah, that's sorry. That's what he said. I think he said something like that right there.
I mean, he's not lying. Points. So what do you? And then, yeah, at least the Giants, they have Saquon, right?
Yeah.
I think it would be a bit of an easier transition for him to go to the Giants because Danny Dimes out of contract, and they're just like, okay, thank you for your 4 years, but we're moving on.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jimmy would just come right in, get the start. Compared to Zach Wilson, he would still be there, right? It's only his 2nd year, so he has at least 2 years left on his contract. And then, I mean, Jimmy's never been one to look over his shoulder like, oh, this guy gonna come get my job. He's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm fucking Jimmy G. I can do whatever I want, man.
Yeah. If you win, you can do whatever you want. You don't even care that people talk trash on him because his teammates love him. And he just keeps winning, so he don't care. You could say whatever you want. You could say he sucks, this, that, and the other thing. But
yeah, did you see courtside at the Warriors game like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I heard about
Like,
that. Like the cheerleaders came up and was talking to him.
every single one came up and shook his hand, and then George Kittle and the rest of the 49ers sitting right next to him, and none of the cheerleaders gave them any attention at all. Just like, yeah, what are you, his entourage? Anyways, hi, Jimmy. And George Kittle starts like bowing. He's like, oh, remember like from that '70s show when they're like, oh, you are a god, right, Kelso? And
Yeah.
they just start like bowing to him, like, oh, you got it, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's just out there being him, and all of his teammates are gonna love him. They're just like, yeah, this is the guy you want to bring to the party because all the chicks are just gonna flock around him. Like,
so you just could just.
all he needs to do is just stand there and, hi, I'm Jimmy.
Yeah. Oh man, they talked about for that Mexico City game. Like they compared the quarterbacks before the game. I think it was Andy Dalton was playing for the whatchamacallits, for the Cardinals. Or somebody for the Cardinals. No, your boy, Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy, your boy.
Boy, got that victory, didn't he?
No, McCoy got eaten alive.
What? No, I thought they played the Rams in Mexico City.
Nah, they played the Niners in Mexico City.
Oh.
So here's the story, though. It's like Jimmy G shows up in a red suit looking fly as hell, right? Like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And Colt McCoy shows up like he just pulled his his clothes out the dirty laundry pile, man.
Yeah, they said it was like Mr. GQ versus Mr. Cole. I mean, one guy's made over $100 million in his career. The other one's just living within his means.
Yeah, but still, you know where the iron's at, right?
Yeah. I think he's dressed for the part, right? He's like, I might be starting today, but I don't want to be starting next week. I think he's really committed to that Colt McCoy trade.
Yeah. Well, it's named after him. He should be committed to it.
I know, right? He's like, fuck, I have to play today.
Yeah. Maybe he was thinking, he just stays second string. So if the first string quarterback gets hurt, then they bump the third string to second string, and then he becomes second string again.
He's like, I thought I was a backup for a reason.
Yeah.
What the heck? I'm not backing anyone up today.
Oh man.
But they got a victory against the Rams the week before. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but who hasn't beaten the Rams this year?
Oh man, they fucking suck. They suck so much.
They lost to the Chiefs this week, 26-10.
The Steelers?
Nah, the Rams lost to the Chiefs this week, 26-10.
Yeah. I'm surprised it was that close.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Steelers and Colts are playing on Monday Night Football. So I don't know if anybody's going to watch it or go to the game or anything like that, but...
Well, yeah, I saw that, tonight's game. You know what? What's his name? Jeff Saturday or something, right?
Yeah.
He's actually got them playing some better football. I think they're on a 2-game winning streak.
Well, I think they're 1-1. They won the first game against the Raiders, and then they almost won last week. Almost.
I thought they had won both games with him. Because I know they beat the Raiders. But then, I guess the Raiders are technically on a 2-game winning streak.
Yeah, they won both games with walk-offs and overtime.
Even though the Denver game isn't really much to long, right? I mean, who hasn't beaten Denver?
Yo, Denver is so bad, bro.
I mean, the worst part is that they committed to this guy before the season started. And the thing is that, like, it's not like that was a requirement. He still had, I think, 1 year on his current contract, similar to what Stafford had, right? And the Rams are like, well, you know what? We're going to let you play 1 year, see how you do, see if we fucked up by giving away all those draft picks or not. And then he brought him a Super Bowl. And they're like, okay, here's your money.
Yeah. And now he's hurt.
But I mean, Stafford's a good quarterback. That injury was something that was brought up during training camp, So it was like, it was kind of expected, like, oh, how well is he gonna play this year? He's got an elbow injury, kind of playing through it, and it's like, you know what? Give him his time off. Cooper Kupp is injured. Give him his time off. Just pack it up and just restart next year. Similar to what I believe the Packers should do. Like, Rodgers went out hurt yesterday with some ribs, and Jordan Love came in and actually played okay.
It's time, bro.
It's like, just pack it up and just restart. Start again next year. It's like, why force people to play while they're injured? Potentially get more people injured. Just pack it up. Start again next year, man. This not easy to do. Only one team gets to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like just fighting to get into the playoffs, it's just like, do you really think you're gonna play 3-4 road games and win the whole thing? Like, come on.
Man.
If you're not like, at least like, maybe if like you're fighting to win your division, which the Rams are definitely not,
and the Packers are also not.
Where are they, like 4-7 now?
Oh,
The
yeah.
Vikings would have to lose all of their games for the rest of their season. Actually, I think we may have actually clinched, because I'm pretty sure we beat all those three teams once already. So I think the Vikings just need to win one more game, and then we've clinched our division.
I feel like they were saying on the radio today you had a 3-game lead over the Packers with a tiebreaker. I mean, it doesn't matter. Y'all going to clinch soon enough, but you'll probably be the first ones to clinch too.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, bro, I called it at the beginning of the year. I was like, I feel like it's the Vikings' year. I mean, you said it too, of course, because you're a Vikings fan. But I told you, man, I was like, I feel like it's the Vikings' year to win the division. Packers have done it too long now.
Yeah, I remember we both said that, and it was mainly because they had let go of
Adams,
and then they paid Rodgers money after all this controversy of him smoking ayahuasca, whatever. And it's like, buddy, he's like in his 40s, right?
He's 38.
Or like late 30s. Okay, he's like in his late 30s, going up against guys in their early to mid 20s. Like, shouldn't you be like watching film on teams that you know all that well, and maybe like trying to clean up your diet, not like throwing your diet in the fucking garbage? I don't know. I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure smoking ayahuasca isn't good for your health, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Like, come on. Like, and you just signed this new extension worth like $50 million a year, and you're like, yeah, it was never about the money. Are you sure? Are you sure it wasn't about the money? Like, come on.
Yeah, because if he wants to win, and he's that age, he needs to tell his team to use the money for something smart. Like, because now look what the Packers did. They shelled out $50 million for this dude, and now they're just like, they have a noose around their necks because you can't move anywhere. And then you're taking all that money on one guy, and he gets hurt or he just has an off year. You're screwed. It's almost exactly like Russell Wilson. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, and then on top of all that, all the critics are just like, oh yeah, this Packers defense is so good. They're so talented. I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you sure they're that good, or are you just saying that because you're trying to push this agenda that the Packers are so good? Like, bro, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, yeah, I remember at the beginning of the year, I was like, the Vikings, I had a feeling they're going to step it up this year. And I'm happy with them so far. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got one more game I want to talk about. Did you see the end of that Chargers and other team? Who'd they play? How do I not know this? The Cardinals, right?
Indeed.
They played the Cardinals
against somebody.
Hold on, I just had it. How did I ever forget that? Chargers and Cardinals.
Oh, yeah, that's who they scraped out one. Yeah, by 1 point. They were down, I think.
Yeah, they were down a touchdown. Then they drive the field. They get 6, so they're down 1. And then you know their coach, he's just like the ballsiest dude on the planet. And he goes for 2. And he gets it. And so, it looks like a good decision in that sense, but
I remember the New York Giants that did something similar at the beginning of the year, and then they didn't. Say they went for 2 and get it, right? And I told you, I was like, I would have done the same thing. Fuck it. Fuck overtime. If we got a chance to win here, let's win.
Yeah,
let's go for the win. Like, who knows what's gonna happen? You may even miss the PAT, and then it's just like fuck. Like if you got a good quarterback and you got a chance to win, right? Let's go for the win. I think Herbert's a good quarterback, so yeah, man, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you never know with overtime what's gonna happen. You never know if Josh Jacobs going to come out from nowhere and run 87 yards or who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like that the Browns walked off against the Tom Brady Buccaneers. They beat them in overtime too on a walk-off TD with like 12 seconds to go.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I mean, yeah, I like that decision. I'm always one to go for the win.
Yeah.
So, hats off to him, man. Took a risk, and it paid off because I think they're still on the outside of the playoff picture, but people are talking about if he doesn't step it up, he's going to be out of the job pretty soon.
Well, they're lucky because the AFC East still has to beat up on each other. So I think that'll even out the wild card race for a team from another division to come in there and get them a spot.
Yeah, I think they've still got to play the Chiefs one more time. Let me see. Chargers are 6-5 right now. They beat the Raiders first week. They lost to the Chiefs second week. They beat Denver, obviously. And then, so they've already taken 2 L's from the Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
And this coming week is going to be a big week. They're going to play the Raiders. So the Raiders, I know we've been talking a lot of shit, but they're still fighting. They're on a 2-game win streak. If they can somehow get this win, man, they will they can maybe put some wins together, do something good.
Yeah, make a push. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. You got any thoughts on tonight's game before we head out?
I like Jeff Saturday.
You're cutting out on me. What'd you say?
I said I like Jeff Saturday, and hopefully he gets a win.
All right, yeah. All right, man. Well, Danny, thank you so much for chit-chatting, shooting the breeze about some NFL football, and I'll talk to you next time, man.
All right, next time.
All right, later.